Okay. Uh, the first one I would say is granularity. And if you saw the video we shared for booking.com, the product designer from booking.com, this was the number one point that even he mentioned. Now, when you say granularity, what that means is that it has to be like a unit, a very small unit that you're testing. A better way to understand this is that it cannot be something very wide. Like the example that he gives, and that's a classic example, is that you cannot test A/B test between two totally different landing pages. People think that A/B test is that you can take one landing page and design a completely different one and then put it across to two audiences and ask, hey, which one is better? That is not really an A/B test in the true sense. I mean, it's also a test, but it's not really going to give you a result because the context is totally different. It has to be, the difference between the two has to be so granular that most people may not even notice it. Yeah. Because then it becomes an unbiased kind of a result. Otherwise, if I know that I'm being tested, so for example, I realize that, this platform is testing me, I'm going to act in a certain different way. That is not what you want. You want people to do what they naturally do. And hence it has to be very granular. When I also, besides granular, it has to be a little bit, very detailed. So for example, if you suggest XYZ, that this is the feature or this is the thing that I want to test, you have to go and find out all the edge cases where it is applicable, all the things that it impacts, all the elements. Literally everything has to be captured. It cannot be just a line about what that test is about, right? So you'll find some examples and you'll relate to it. I think you already maybe the four you submitted what I mean by this point. Second, and very, very important, especially for large, in fact, for small platforms also, even for us, it's important, but for large ones, definitely. When you're testing something, remember that for most likely what you're going to test is not going to be used once it's a failure, right? It's a failure. There'll be a success and there'll be a failure. The failure one is going to go away. If you do something that is totally new from ground zero, you need to understand how much of an effort your engineering team, also your product and design team have to put in terms of just drafting out and creating that test case. So for example, if I say that I have to create 15 different varieties of buttons, that is okay as long as the buttons are not very widely different, right? Because then first of all, it follows the granularity rule, but then also it's not too difficult for the engineering team to implement. That said, if you say, no, I want to change the flow entirely, what happens after the button? So the button remains the same, but the flow is different, then the debt is too much because they have to work that specific flow out for that specific test. And after that, it's gone. So try and limit the debt that is created by whatever it is that you're suggesting. So if it is easy to do, it is quick to do, that is important. So remember, most of these platforms are carrying out tests, hundreds and thousands of tests at times, every single day, every single moment. And they are able to do that because the debt is not too high. And also they've built up a platform for testing, right? The platform itself supports multiple tests that can be run on different audiences. But when you're considering writing a test case, be very, very clear in terms of, you have to limit the amount of debt that is created by whatever it is that we are suggesting. Clear, and this comes from the granularity part, clear, well-defined target segments. So one is what is the test case or what is the feature, etc. But the target segment is very, very important. And this is, I think, true for all four cases, I think almost everywhere. Very broad generalizations don't work. Like for example, a casual user, I saw that term a lot. Casual user, what is a casual user? Because remember, this is actual implementation. So the minute you put down the word casual user, what is it that your engineering team has to do after that? You need to define that. The one that I like the most, which is, now you might think kitna chota sa and kya isme kya matlab hai, but what he's basically saying is that right now when reels start, and if you experience the product, when a reel start and you don't realize that you need to scroll up, right? You don't realize that that is the navigation. So to do that, what he's shown is a small kind of an animation. Let's see if that works out fine in this case. Don't hold on, just hold on. Yeah, all right. So he's done a small animation and just take a look at it.
Yeah, it just happened.
Is it noticeable, guys? So basically what it's doing is, hold on. It's a very minor thing. Did you guys see that? It just jumps up a little bit. What basically Jishnu is trying to tell users is that, okay, there is something below this, right? And it could be a little bit more accentuated. I'll just repeat it here. So basically he's saying that niche iske ek aur video. Now that is a great nudge. In fact, if you look at TikTok, TikTok had this when you were doing your onboarding, app onboarding. That is the exact time they showed this. When you want, they showed it with a coach mark as well, that you can do this and you can scroll up. But this is a great thing to test. Why? Because first, it is granular. It is very easy to implement. once you get the results, you know that whether people are actually, you can directly classify, whether the result is because of this or not. You can directly ascertain that, acha, just because of this are people doing it more. You can directly see the result. I'm pretty sure. Now, obviously, opinions don't matter in beta A/B testing, but I think that this will definitely make a lot of difference. Now, you might think that, अरे यार ये कितना छोटा सा test है.